I would like to say welcome. Thank you so much for coming to Wonder Women. My name is Michelle Murphy. I am privileged to serve as the Executive Director of the Malta House of Care Foundation, and I will serve as your MC this evening as well. On behalf of our board chairs, Bob O'Hara and Bob Voigt, our Chairman Emeritus, Peter Kelly, and our board members, I want to thank all of you for joining us for the 8th annual Celebrating Wonder Women. It is truly heartwarming to see such a large crowd gathered to pay tribute to our amazing honorees and to support the Malta House of Care Mobile Medical Clinic. As I look out to our audience tonight, I see so many familiar faces, longtime supporters of Malta House of Care who are regulars at our Wonder Women event. But for many of you, this is your first Wonder Women. Welcome to the family. Wonder Women was started in 2011 by my visionary predecessor, Bobby Bartuka, as a way to spotlight remarkable and often unsung women of service. You will find the complete list of Wonder Women, 56 strong, in your programs. But this event was also started as a way to support the mobile clinic, which was founded in 2006 to provide outstanding primary health care with compassion, dignity, and respect. From the beginning, our mission at Malta has been to increase financial and geographic access to care for uninsured adults. That's why we are mobile. We bring the care to where our patients live and work. And that's why we are completely free for our patients as well. We believe, and our data support this, that Malta helps to keep people with minor illnesses out of the emergency room where they might otherwise go for care, and also helps to keep them healthier in the first place by providing continuous primary care rather than episodic treatment. Certainly, the demand is there. In 2006, Malta provided 477 free patient visits. Today, we provide about 130 patient visits per week, and since our founding, our total visits are 46,774 free patient visits. How do we do this? In many ways, but there are two fundamental reasons. We have medical volunteers and financial support. Volunteerism has always been at the heart of our mission. Simply put, if we didn't have medical volunteers to provide most of our patient care, Malta could not exist. We now have 56 volunteer doctors, nurses, and other medical professionals who donate $1.7 million of in-kind professional care each year. Many of those volunteers are here with us tonight, and I invite all of you to stand so we may acknowledge you. I also wish to recognize Malta's small but mighty staff, the people who work in our clinic every single day. Again, if you're here, please stand so I may recognize you. Our medical director, Dr. Caputo, prize picker. Our clinical nurse supervisor, Pamela Adley. Our nurse practitioner, Lauren Conroy. Our medical assistants, Vanessa Hernandez, Emily Howard, and Yoida Santana. And our part-time physician assistant, Joan Rochelle. It is my privilege to work with each of you and to witness your commitment to our patients every single day. Although most of our care is provided by our volunteers, it still costs Malta about $75,000 a month to run our van. And since we receive no local, state, or federal funding, we must raise that money ourselves. Fortunately, we have and have always had many consistent and generous donors. The Archdiocese of Hartford, St. Francis and Hartford Hospitals, dozens of corporations and foundations, and hundreds of individual donors who contribute through family funds or from their own checkbooks. 22 of those donors went above and beyond to provide $78,000 in sponsorships for this evening's event. Those sponsors are listed in your program, and they will appear again on the screens after our award ceremony is over. But I invite you to check out the list, and if you know any of them, to thank them on our behalf as well. Lastly, we must also thank all of you. You know, it's bad enough to be sick and scared about a diagnosis, but imagine being sick and scared and terrified about how you would ever be able to pay the bill for the treatment you will need. By attending this event, you have helped to ease that burden for thousands of uninsured people who have literally nowhere else to turn for hope and healing when they are sick. Thank you. And now, without further ado, it is time to honor the Wonder Women class of 2018. When I talk about this event, the two questions I hear most often are, what makes a Malta Wonder Woman, and how do you choose them? In your program, you will find details about the nomination and selection process, but in a nutshell, it's this. A Malta House of Care Wonder Woman is someone who is known for her service, for her focus on others, and for the remarkable improvement she has made in her community. In thinking about them, as I prepared for this evening, I was reminded of something I've heard Mr. Rogers often said. When I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say, "Look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping." As simple as it sounds, that is certainly who our Wonder Women are, helpers. And now, I'm proud to introduce them to you one by one. We will begin with Rosa Morales of Hartford. 18 months ago, with money from a grant, Mayor Luke Bronin set up Hartford's first office of blight remediation. This function is crucial, he believes, because dilapidated buildings and trash-filled green space can really damage residents' pride of place and the health of a city itself. Rosa Morales believes that too, and she has been fighting blight in Hartford for decades. After moving with her family to Grafton Street in 1988, Rosa decided that her Behind the Rocks neighborhood, and especially the trash-filled lot on her corner, needed some sprucing up. So, as she would do for decades to come, Rosa picked up the phone and made some calls. She called city officials, she called her neighbors, coaxing them to help her clean up the community, and she kept calling. Eventually, after years of nudging, that garbage-filled lot was transformed into the leafy and beautiful Alexander Goldfarb Memorial Park, which residents enjoy to this day. Over the years, Miss Rosa became one of the city's most well-known and well-respected community activists, constantly speaking up for what was right. State Representative Matt Ritter has known Rosa for most of his life. In fact, she used to babysit for him. He said, "Rosa is a great example of the impact one person can have. There are a lot of ways to contribute to public life. Some involve ballots, others don't. But the biggest impacts to the city are people who have big hearts and the discipline to keep calling City Hall to get things done. Those are the people who embody what it means to be a caring citizen." And for that, we honor Rosa Morales as a Wonder Woman of 2018. We have prepared and invited our Wonder Women to reflect on a question particular to each one of them. And so in this question and answer, we're going to ask each Wonder Woman to share a few remarks. So Rosa, when you moved to Hartford in 1988, you were a working mom. You were busy. You had a family, you had a job, you had your own house to worry about. How in the world and why did you bother getting involved with the neighborhood, cleaning the neighborhood up? How did you have time?
Well, I got time because I wanted to change the thing. I could not live in that street, in a messy street.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed to go wherever the need was needed for me to get the help, and I did.
Did you ever get, didn't you ever get discouraged? Because it can be aggravating to call and call and call. You didn't?
No, not to me, because I have something to do. Yeah, I think so. Any more questions?
No other questions unless you have some other thoughts you want to share?
Say that again?
Anything else you'd like to share?
No, I just wanted to say that to continue.
Mm-hmm. Do you see it getting better in Hartford?
Getting better or no, I gotta stay there, so
Got it. Thank you, Rosa. Thank you for all you've done. Our next Wonder Woman is Michaela Nelson. If you didn't know better, you might think Michaela Nelson was just another hardworking college student focused on classes and friends and her own world. But underneath that calm and unassuming exterior is a busy, inventive, and remarkably creative entrepreneur with a huge heart. Growing up in Buffalo, New York, Michaela always knew she wanted a career that would involve science, math, and art, and would let her work with her hands. Through her uncle, a military veteran, she came to know several amputees, and so she decided to come here to the University of Hartford and focus on the field of prosthetics and orthotics. When she was a sophomore, a light bulb went off in her head. What if kids who needed prostheses had a toy that they could practice on, something that would look like them and perhaps make them feel more comfortable about their own bodies? So she bought an American Girl doll on eBay, took it apart, and began experimenting with putty, clay, felt, and hot glue. She figured out how to make a prosthetic leg and then an arm for the doll. Now, Michaela makes her dolls with a 3D printer, which means she can truly customize each one to its recipient. Some dolls have prosthetic limbs, others have scarred skin, still others have hearing aids or walkers. She gets their hair on Etsy through another entrepreneur. Grateful parents find her dolls through her Facebook group called Mickey's Mission, and lots of word of mouth. Michaela will graduate on May 19th from the University of Hartford with her bachelor's degree, but will remain on campus for another year when she will complete her master's degree in prosthetics and orthotics. Congratulations to Wonder Woman Michaela Nelson. Michaela is holding one of the dolls that she made, and there are others on display in the lounge. If you didn't see them before the ceremony began, you may see them on your way out. They're just unbelievable. So my question for Michaela is, what made that light bulb go off? Was there a person or an incident or something that made you think, I think I should try to solve this?
So after class one day, I was reading a blog online about how a mother was discussing how she couldn't find a doll to represent her daughter who was born with an above-the-elbow amputation. So I just kind of thought to myself, like, maybe there's a way for me to change this. And I'm someone who always likes to have a project that I'm working on, something to keep me busy and a little break from school. Yeah. So it's just kind of taken over, and I never thought the type of like reaction that I would get from it, and I would never imagine that I'd be somewhere like here today. So.
And I know you have shared with me, Michaela, that you are overwhelmed at times with the reactions you get from parents. Tell us a little about that.
Right, so sometimes I'll get emails or Facebook posts with photos of the child with their doll, and what they say to me is like beyond belief. Some families have discussed with me how the doll is helping their child with their PTSD from burn scars. It's helping them when they go to physical therapy or when they go to school. And just the response that not only the child gets, but the child's siblings. A lot of the kids who I make dolls for actually were adopted. So they were born with these deformities, these differences, and they never knew, like, their real parents. So having them have a doll that looks just like them has been like a huge relief for them and their families and siblings, parents, everyone.
That's fantastic. Congratulations, and thank you. And now we will turn from the youngest Wonder Woman in the class of 18 to the oldest. You know, many women don't like to talk about their age, and some may even fudge the numbers a bit. Not Dorothy Bokar. You talk with Dot for just a few moments, and you get the clear sense that she has cherished every single day of her 99 years on this earth. Dot certainly personifies the idea that keeping active keeps you young. After all, she seems to be doing as much in retirement as she did during her career. For 50 years, Dot worked as a secretary at the Cooper Company in Bristol. In 1987, she retired, and then she got really busy as a professional volunteer. For more than 30 years, she has spent much of her time at the sewing machine, making baptismal robes for every newborn in her lifelong parish, St. Joseph's of Bristol, plus thousands upon thousands of diapers and baby beds for the Haitian Health Foundation. She once said, "I think sometimes that's why the good Lord is keeping me here. He needs someone to make all these diapers." When she's not sewing, Dot may be found baking for church events, counting the weekly collection at church, registering blood drive donors at Bristol Hospital, stuffing envelopes for the Chamber of Commerce, and visiting the sick and elderly. In recognition of all of this and more, she received the St. Joseph Medal of Appreciation from the Archdiocese of Hartford in 2013. Father Joseph Dishiaka, her pastor at the time, who I think is with us tonight, said, "Dot is a woman of many great qualities and talents, but among her greatest are her faith, devotion, and joyful personality." We have to agree. Congratulations, Dot. So my question to Dot, I am far younger, but this is how I felt when I read this list, was, don't you want to rest, Dot? Didn't you just want to rest? You worked for 50 years, you went to a job. I know you also cared for your parents for many years during those same times. You deserved and could have taken it easy. Why don't you?
No way. No, I just want to keep busy and until my time is up. And I just enjoy meeting people. And I was afraid when I retired, I was going to come home, stay home, and everything was going to be quiet, and I'd be bored to death. Well, about a month after I was retired, I was volunteering for about 4 or 5 things.
Mm-hmm.
Called all these different places to see if they needed anybody. And of course, everybody did.
Yeah, of course.
So that's why I keep busy. And the Red Cross, I've been volunteering for them for 31 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I have two appointments with them this month. Mm-hmm. One at the Elks Club and one at the Bristol Hospital. So
we had to have Dot put this date on her calendar a while ago because we knew she might not otherwise be able to make it. She's busy.
So, but God has been good to me, very good.
Did you have other remarks you wanted to share? I know you had mentioned that you had.
Yeah, I don't have another question.
I
thought we had 2.
Well, I had another question for you, but now I have a different one that I just thought of, which is, do you have a favorite volunteer activity? Which thing do you love most?
Which one do I love most? Making the baptismal for the babies.
Why is that?
I don't know, you just feel great, and they're so cute.
Yeah.
They're very, very nice.
Thank you very much.
today. I think this is it's a great outing, great organization. And my family, some of my family's here, and all my friends. And and they're waving to me now. and my clergy. I'm so happy that you came. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. The Pied Piper. In the city of Hartford, and especially the South End, that's what they call Hyacinth Yenny, the Pied Piper. Because where Hyacinth goes, people follow. What Hyacinth recommends, people do. In fact, you would be hard-pressed to look at an organization, a cause, or just a corner of the South End and not find Hyacinth there. She's a small business owner. She's been the chair of the active and influential Maple Avenue Revitalization Group since 2002. She helped to create the South End Wellness Senior Center on Maple Avenue, a crucial social and support hub for hundreds of elderly residents. She's organized countless demonstrations over the years in response to traffic issues, gun violence, the drug trade, cutbacks in the schools. But she believes that people must also gather for good reasons, too. So she started Barry Square Community Day, an enormous barbecue held outside the Warner Theater that attracts about 1,200 people every summer. All of this just scratches the surface of the people and places Hyacinth has touched over the past decades in her beloved neighborhood. They may call her the Pied Piper around the South End, but Hartford Current reporter Rick Green, who has been writing about Hyacinth Yenny's activism since the 1990s, has a different name for her. He told me, in my view, she's a hero. We have to agree with him, too. Congratulations, Hyacinth. So Hyacinth, when I read about the many, many, many things you've done, and in particular the obstacles that you faced, I thought it seems like the word no, it's just, you just don't listen to that. And the words, that's not possible, are just like white noise to you. How is that? How do you find the perseverance and the determination to keep forging on when everyone and everything around you is in your way?
It's called determination. Does this microphone work?
Yeah.
It's called determination. If you believe in something, you never stop believing. You continue to believe, and you're forged to get things done. I am that kind of person. It's my nature. I get things done, okay? I do not want to be the mayor, a state rep. I want to be a ground-down person that does something in my neighborhood and make a difference. That's what I'm all about.
Were there ever times you were tempted to pack it in and quit?
No, it's not in my vocabulary.
Yeah, I know.
Okay? It's something that's in my blood. I have to do. Mm-hmm. You know, I grew up as a family. My mother had 15 of us, and I was that middle child trying to figure out where do I fit into this all. And my fit-in was I have to create my own reality. I have to create my own village. Mm-hmm. My mother was that hero that I see. And then there's a saying that children live what they learn. And my mother did so many things when she was that mother and that community person. She was like Sister Teresa. Mm-hmm. She does everything for her village. Mm-hmm. And growing up, I didn't even thought about it. But then I came to Hartford, and I realized I am creating that village. And I am creating whatever I need to see happen to improve that neighborhood I live in. And that's what I do. And it doesn't take a lot of effort. It's something that's in me to do.
I know that you and Rosa over the years intersected many times,
yes.
and you're kind of cut from the same cloth in that way, I would say. Different neighborhoods, yes. Same sense of purpose and yes. accomplishment. Yes. Thank you very, very much for being who you are and doing what you do. Our next Wonder Woman, Ronit Shoham, lives in West Hartford, which also happens to be where I live. Before this event, I did not know her, but I certainly felt like I did. That's because in our small city, Ronit is a household name. It's an unusual week when the local papers don't have a story about one of the many, many community organizations with which she's been involved since moving here in 1982. She's been a teacher, a board member for 4 different groups, a social action chair, a gala chair, a fundraiser, a volunteer, and a founder of something 5 times over. Ronit created or helped to create the Miracle League of Connecticut, so children with physical and mental challenges can play baseball. The Underground, a drug and alcohol-free place where West Hartford teens can hang out with friends in a safe and comfortable environment. West Hartford Little League, which became our 3rd baseball league in town, and its Challenger Division, which allows kids with cognitive or physical disabilities to play baseball. And Cut Out Cancer, which provides complimentary pampering at Bloomfield's Milano Salon for people undergoing cancer treatment. This past October, Ronit beamed with pride when the ribbon was cut at the reopening of Jonathan's Dream at the Jewish Community Center in West Hartford. Jonathan's Dream is one of the first accessible playscapes in the United States, and it had fallen into some disrepair. She joined forces with her friend, the founder, Amy Jaffe Barzak, to raise $1.2 million to restore the beloved playground to use after it fell into disrepair. Despite Ronit's long and impressive resume, there is one title that is noticeably absent from it, and that is glue. Glue is the most important thing that Ronit Shoham has been, the glue in her community. The person who patched together good ideas, who matched motivated, passionate people with one another, and who truly stuck with things to see them through to successful completion. For all of this and more, we honor Ronit Shoham, a Wonder Woman from the class of 2018. Okay. Ronit, I am exhausted, sort of like with Dot, just reading about all the things you've done and continue to do. And I think, don't you ever think I am, enough. I am tired, someone else can do this, and I need to stop or at least cut back.
I do think about it. And I would like to lie to say that I will stop, but there's too many friends here who will testify differently. So I do think about it, and I'm determined to not pick up another project, and I make bets that I lose, that I will not join another board, or I will not pick up another project. But as I was told, my DNA is missing the N.
Like Hyacinth.
So it's just hard for me to say no. I'm trying, though. I'm giving it my best, not doing too well.
Did you have a role model? Did you see or witness a sense of service, or is that really just in your DNA, this sense of giving back and of looking around you and thinking of what you can do to help?
I would say that beside missing the N in my DNA, I would say is the community that I was raised prior to coming to the United States is the role model that, if I think back, have embedded in me the need or the ability, the necessity to give. So I grew up in a kibbutz in Israel where the community exists because of the individual. And in order for the community to exist, each individual needs to contribute. And when I think back, I think that is what which I've never realized until I was asked this question, is possibly what, along with the missing end, is what I guess created me and what I'm doing today in the community.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for what you do. Selfishly, especially since we live in the same town, I have to say I hope you still say yes more than no. So, okay. And now we have not one Wonder Woman, but two. Sister Maureen Faenza and Sister Teresa Fonti were nominated as a team. And in truth, it would be hard to think of them in terms of their service to the community individually, because I think they would say as well that each relied upon the other. Their service has been so intertwined for so many years that they could only be considered such as a team. When Sister Maureen and Sister Teresa first started the House of Bread in 1980, they had a little situation. Their goal had been simple. They wanted to offer comfort to Hartford's hungry and homeless residents. So they put out a 12-cup coffee pot and a 2-slice toaster at Sacred Heart Church in the North End. On their first day, no one came. Actually, no one ever came. After 3 weeks, the two Sisters of St. Joseph realized they needed a different plan. They talked to the neighbors, they observed people's patterns, and they realized they were in the wrong location. They thought it was the place to be, but they learned from the community that it was not. Soon enough, at their new spot on Main Street, street people started coming for the nuns' coffee and day-old donuts, and for the comfort of their acceptance and compassion. First, it was dozens. Then it was hundreds. And now it's thousands of people. Every week, the House of Bread staff prepares and serves about 2,000 fresh, hot meals from its soup kitchen on Chestnut Street. They feed children as well. Each day, 600 kids get a hot dinner at one of 9 different kids' cafe locations throughout the city. That adds up to 140,000 meals per year. And Sister Maureen and Sister Teresa, still at the helm of the place they started 38 years ago, now offer much more than food. Today, the House of Bread also offers housing, medical, psychological, and legal services, job training for the food service industry, a drop-in day shelter with showers, laundry, and other amenities, and education, literacy classes for immigrants, and tutoring for young moms completing their GEDs. A Buddhist nun once wrote that true compassion lies not in service of those on the margins, but in seeing ourselves in kinship with them. Clearly, this is the spirit that fills the House of Bread. To quote one client, "I've been a drunk all my life, but when I'm here, I'm treated with dignity." Congratulations, Sister Maureen and Sister Teresa. And although the sisters were nominated as a team, we've invited them to respond individually to questions. First, Sister Maureen. So, Sister Maureen, I read somewhere that you and Sister Teresa thought you might have retired by now, that you never thought you'd still be doing the same work that you started in 1980. Can you believe it yourself? How could you ever have imagined that you would still be at it all these years later?
Oh, you're right. I thought I would be sitting on a beach somewhere, enjoying the sun and relaxation. But that's not the case. But prior to Teresa and myself starting the programs, we said that we should really visit some of the business people in the area just to let them know what we're going to be doing, especially when we first started the soup kitchen in 1980. So it was a Saturday, and we visited some businesses, and our last stop was the Arrowhead Cafe on Main Street. And behind the bar was Andy Tedesco, the owner of the cafe. And we told him what we wanted to do. We introduced ourselves. And he said, "Listen, girls, you want to come into this neighborhood? Well, you better have one of these with you at all times." Opens the drawer, and there's a .38 caliber. Well, I looked at Teresa, she looked at me, and we just got out of there so fast. But Andy became a very good friend of the House of Breads. But we could never accomplish what we have without, first of all, our board of directors who guides us and directs us, keeps us out of trouble, our staff who helps us carry out our mission, the volunteers who come week after week, our community who 38 years ago said to us, "Take the risk," and they continue to support us, which we are very, very grateful. And the people who help us financially. We could never do what we do without those folks. So thank you. And I congratulate all the women up here. They certainly are Wonder Women. Congratulations.
Sister Teresa, my question for you could be asked, I suppose, of all of our Wonder Women, but in your case in particular, it seems appropriate. How do you stay so positive, so cheerful, in the face of so much pain and misery and difficulty? When you look in the faces of those who come to the House of Bread, don't you ever get discouraged?
There's no question that we have many experiences over these 38 years. The experience of being challenged by people who are not willing to get help when we offer it to them. And I'm going to go to this morning, a very experience I had at breakfast time, and it was a wonderful, we had day-old donuts years ago. Now we had French toast with syrup, fresh strawberries, and 2 donuts and coffee. And one of our staff people came over to me and said, "Sister, can you talk to this woman? She's sitting there and she doesn't look well and she's not wanting any help from us." So I went over to her, and I know she was there Monday. She had a hospital bracelet on, and she had already been to receiving services, but she did not look well at all. And so when trying to talk to her, she only had 1 shoe on and refused us giving her shoes, even a big size, because of her swollen feet. And we have to respect her opinion. She did not want any help from us. We had a doctor and a nurse coming in today. And it broke my heart. You have to respect her opinion. It is her choice. It's her health. And in my heart, all I said was, "God, please take care of her today, because there's nothing more we can do for her." And I saw her walk out, leave, and go through the shelter and go down the street, carrying her little bag. We gave her some clothing and a few things for the day. She did not come back at lunchtime, so my hope is that she receives some medical attention somewhere or someone took care of her. So we do encounter those kinds of experiences every day, but also at the same time, I went to another guest at the table, and he was one of our clients who had a drug and alcohol addiction. He has turned his life around. He's a bus driver now, but is on a very low income and comes in to eat every day with us, and we have a nice chat, and he says, "I'm blessed, I'm here," and this is what makes the moment. So you have your dual effect and your dual response, and you have to go through every day just saying, "I see Christ in every person we serve. Jesus is there, and we wish them our best, and we do the best we can for them."
And maybe each of you, or together, you might wish to respond. I know Sister Maureen and Sister Teresa are members of the Sisters of St. Joseph. That's their religious community. And they have shared, as they did tonight, but they've shared with me as well, how important that family is to them and how their sense of service emanates from the community and perhaps is reflected back to it. Could you share just a thought about the importance of those colleagues and sisters in community?
As Sisters of St. Joseph, we are asked to do the more. And I think that has been an inspiration for me, to do the more for the neighbor. And so I'm just very proud to belong to this religious community.
And we have a powerhouse of our elderly sisters who continuously pray for us throughout the years. From the day one when we were out there, they have always offered us their prayers and support. They may not be out in the mission territory, but they're there behind us, and we know that, and it's powerful.
Thank you very much. I invite you to do what you've just done, actually, to offer one more hearty round of applause for all 7 amazing Wonder Women.